Now, the Philippines.
Philippines makes its first natural gas discovery in more than a decade. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. announced gas and condensate were found at a well near the existing Malampaya gas field off the coast of Palawan.
I am pleased to inform everyone that for the first time in over a decade, a significant natural gas discovery has been made. The discovered reservoir, called Malampaya East 1 or MAE-1, is located about 5 kilometers east of the existing Malampaya field.
The Philippines is running out of time and running short on energy. Demand keeps rising, electricity prices remain unstable, and dependence on imported fuel continues to grow. Yet beneath the waters off Palawan, the country may have found a lifeline that was hidden in plain sight. What if the answer to today's energy challenge has been there all along, just 5 kilometers offshore? Each year, the economy consumes more power than the last. Factories, data centers, growing cities, and millions of households all draw from a grid under increasing strain. Energy independence is no longer just a policy goal, it has become a strategic necessity tied directly to national strength and sovereignty.
This helps Malampaya's contribution and strengthens our domestic gas supply for many years to come. Initial testing showed that the well flowed at 60 million cubic feet per day. This indicates that the well has the potential to produce even more, confirming it is a high productivity resource comparable to the original Malampaya well.
On January 19, 2026, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. announced a discovery that could reshape the country's energy future. A major natural gas find at Malampaya East 1, or MAE-1. This was not a theory or a projection. The gas was already flowing, confirmed through testing beneath the seabed. MAE-1 sits just 5 kilometers east of the original Malampaya gas field. The same basin, the same geological system, but with new reserves. For more than 20 years, Malampaya powered up to 40% of Luzon's electricity before its natural decline began. As production fell, the clock started ticking. MAE-1 changes that timeline. This is the first major natural gas discovery in the Philippines in over a decade, arriving at a moment when global fuel markets are unstable, LNG imports are costly, and coal dependence remains high. Engineers confirmed a high-quality, commercially viable gas reservoir, supported by condensate output. This is energy security that can be measured, planned, and used. The scale matters. MAE-1 has the potential to power millions of Filipino homes, reduce brownouts, stabilize prices, and lower exposure to global shocks. Every unit of gas produced at home means fewer imports, fewer tankers, and fewer vulnerabilities. Energy independence is built one molecule at a time. What makes the discovery even more significant is who made it possible. Filipino engineers and crews carried out the work, completing operations without accidents. This was not just energy found in Philippine waters, it was built through Philippine capability. Across Southeast Asia, countries are racing to secure gas supplies as the energy transition tightens markets. With MAE-1, the Philippines re-enters that race not as a buyer, but as a producer. The next decade will determine how affordable power remains, how competitive industries stay, and how stable the grid becomes. MAE-1 arrives just as that decisive window opens. 5 kilometers east of an aging giant, a new chapter has begun. This is not just an energy story, it is an economic story, a security story, and a sovereignty story, and it starts offshore. Off the western edge of the Philippines, beyond the well-known tourist coasts of Palawan, lies one of the country's most important energy assets. Hidden beneath the sea, the Malampaya gas field quietly powered the nation for years. It was never visible and rarely discussed, yet it played a central role in keeping the country running. Not on land, not in sight, but essential. Discovered in the 1990s and developed in the early 2000s, Malampaya became the Philippines' first and only large-scale domestic source of natural gas. For more than 20 years, gas flowed from the seabed through underwater pipelines to power plants in Luzon. This was energy produced within Philippine waters, supporting homes, businesses, and industries without relying on overseas fuel. At its peak, Malampaya supplied up to 40% of Luzon's electricity. Entire cities depended on it. Factories operated, hospitals stayed powered, and homes remained lit because of one offshore field. When Luzon had stable electricity, Malampaya was often the reason. But gas fields naturally decline. After more than 2 decades of steady production, Malampaya began to slow as pressure dropped and output fell. The impact was felt across the power system, revealing how much the country depended on a single source. This raised a difficult question for policymakers. What comes after Malampaya? The wider energy picture made that question even more urgent. The Philippines remains one of Southeast Asia's most coal-dependent countries, relying heavily on imported fuel. This exposes the country to global price swings and supply disruptions, driving up electricity costs even when demand does not change. Each shipment of imported coal adds risk. Natural gas offers a practical alternative. It burns cleaner than coal, produces fewer pollutants, and helps balance the grid when renewable energy fluctuates. As Malampaya declined, LNG imports filled part of the gap, preventing shortages but increasing exposure to global markets. Imported gas can help in the short term, but it cannot deliver real energy independence. That is why attention returned to the waters off Palawan. Beneath the same seabed that once sustained Malampaya, new potential remained. This time, the need was clearer, the risks were higher, and the timing was critical. Just 5 kilometers east of the original Malampaya gas field sits Malampaya East 1, or MAE-1. It lies in the same offshore basin and geological system that powered the Philippines for decades, but it is a new reservoir with fresh potential. This discovery was not a stroke of luck. It was the result of careful study, experience, and a deliberate decision to return to ground that was already well understood. Early estimates show that MAE-1 holds about 98 billion cubic feet of natural gas, enough to generate roughly 14 billion kilowatt hours of electricity each year. That amount of power could supply around 5.7 million homes for a full year. These figures translate into real impact. Millions of households supported, and a meaningful boost to the national power supply from a single offshore well. The technical achievement behind MAE-1 is just as significant. The well was drilled in deep water off Palawan, under demanding conditions that required precision, strong safety standards, and experienced teams. Flow tests confirmed its strength, with initial output of around 60 million cubic feet of gas per day, showing that this is a solid, commercially viable discovery. The presence of condensate further improves the project's value and resilience. Strategically, MAE-1 arrives at the right time. As the original Malampaya field continues to decline, this new discovery helps extend domestic gas production, stabilizes supply, and reduces dependence on imports. It also offers environmental benefits, emitting fewer pollutants than coal while supporting reliable power generation. More than just a new well, MAE-1 represents continuity and choice, a reminder that the Philippines still has room to shape its own energy future. Energy security is not an abstract concept. It shows up in everyday life, on electricity bills, in factories that need steady power, and in hospitals where outages are not an option. Gas from MAE-1 helps stabilize gas-fired power plants, keeping electricity supply steady when demand rises. When fuel supply is reliable, power generation follows. That stability matters. In a world shaped by geopolitical tension and volatile fuel markets, predictability becomes a real advantage. Domestic gas shields the Philippines from sudden global price shocks and reduces the need for costly emergency imports. While MAE-1 does not eliminate risk, it shifts the balance in the country's favor by giving planners more control and flexibility. The economic impact extends beyond energy security. Projects like MAE-1 support jobs across a wide chain, from offshore drilling and marine transport to engineering, maintenance, ports, and logistics. These are not short-term opportunities. They create lasting skills, support local businesses, and strengthen industrial capacity. Revenue from domestic gas also stays within the country, flowing back through taxes, royalties, infrastructure spending, and reinvestment instead of being lost to imports. Reliable energy also delivers clear social benefits. Households experience fewer outages and more predictable power costs. Businesses gain the confidence to invest, expand, and retain jobs. Stable supply makes it easier to extend electricity to underserved and rural areas, supporting schools, clinics, and small enterprises. At its core, development still begins with access to dependable power. From an environmental standpoint, natural gas offers a practical step forward. It produces significantly less carbon dioxide than coal and helps lower emissions immediately, not just on paper. Gas also plays a key supporting role alongside renewables, stabilizing the grid when solar and wind output fluctuate. This balance allows cleaner energy to grow without undermining reliability. Finally, responsible extraction underpins the entire transition. The MAE-1 drilling campaign was completed without accidents, reflecting strong safety standards in a high-risk offshore environment. Strict environmental safeguards and monitoring were applied throughout the process, protecting sensitive ecosystems and ensuring long-term viability. In energy development, cutting corners rarely saves time or money. It almost always costs more in the end.
The next steps are the completion and testing of the Camago 3, followed by the drilling of the Pag-asa exploration well to pursue more potential gas resources.
Government and industry reaction to the MAE-1 discovery has been clear and aligned. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. described the find as a high-productivity resource, highlighting both the technical success of the well and the fact that it was carried out under Filipino leadership without any accidents. Within the energy sector, momentum has followed quickly. Companies involved in the Malampaya project, including Prime Energy Resources Development, PNOC Exploration Corporation, and Prime Oil and Gas Inc., are preparing for expanded work under the Malampaya Phase 4 program. Follow-on wells and appraisal activities are intended to fully define the resource and move it efficiently into existing infrastructure. At the policy level, MAE-1 is likely to influence how the country plans its energy future. Stronger incentives for exploration, clearer gas market rules, and better coordination between fossil fuels and renewables are all back on the table. The discovery sends a clear signal. When success appears, policy adapts. MAE-1 demonstrates that the Philippines can still find energy, develop it responsibly, and use it strategically, reclaiming not just supply, but control over its own energy choices. Offshore energy development is never simple. Deepwater drilling pushes engineering to its limits, where extreme pressure, temperature, and depth leave little room for error. MAE-1 lies thousands of meters below the surface, in an environment where precision determines success and mistakes carry heavy consequences. The ocean does not compromise, and energy security depends on how well projects are executed, not on optimism alone.
Every offshore well brings technical risk.
Narrow drilling margins, high-pressure reservoirs, and complex subsea systems mean that a single misstep can delay timelines or erase hard-won gains. Deepwater projects are also expensive. Rigs, support vessels, and safety systems demand large investments, and delays quickly multiply costs. Discovering gas is only the first step. Developing it responsibly is the real challenge. Market forces add another layer of uncertainty. Global natural gas prices shift constantly, shaped by geopolitics, weather patterns, and competing demand from major markets. When prices fall too low, domestic projects struggle to remain viable. When prices rise too high, consumers bear the burden. Managing this balance between affordability and long-term supply is one of the hardest tests for energy planners. Infrastructure is equally critical. Gas must move efficiently from offshore wells to onshore facilities and into the power grid. Pipelines, processing plants, and grid readiness will determine how quickly MAE-1 becomes usable energy. Gas left underground has no value without a clear path to the grid. Environmental and regulatory risks cannot be ignored. The waters off Palawan are ecologically sensitive, requiring strict safeguards, continuous monitoring, and firm regulatory oversight. Permits, environmental assessments, and community engagement are not box-ticking exercises. They determine public trust and long-term viability. Sustainable energy development depends on getting these right every time, because speed without stewardship ultimately leads to failure. Malampaya East 1 is not the end of the story. It is the beginning. Development is expected to move forward in phases under the Malampaya Phase 4 drilling program, allowing progress to be measured, adjusted, and managed carefully. Energy transitions take time, and MAE-1 represents the first step in a longer journey, not a quick fix. Additional wells, including Camago 3 and Bagong Pagasa, are planned to confirm and expand the resource base. Each successful well reduces uncertainty and strengthens confidence in the field's long-term potential. As testing continues, timelines for tying new production into existing infrastructure become clearer. Phased development allows flexibility, helping limit risk while ensuring steady progress. Success at MAE-1 also changes how the broader Malampaya area is viewed. Geological confidence increases, and prospects once considered marginal are being reassessed. The basin is no longer seen as one in decline, but as one with renewed potential. One proven discovery can reshape how an entire block is evaluated. In the long term, MAE-1 fits into a broader energy strategy rather than competing with it. The goal is not to choose gas over renewables, but to sequence them properly. Domestic gas provides stability, while solar, wind, and energy storage continue to scale, supporting a cleaner grid without sudden disruptions or price shocks. By smoothing volatility and strengthening supply control, MAE-1 gives the Philippines greater leverage in planning its energy future. It brings more certainty, more resilience, and a shift from reactive decisions to proactive strategy. In a region competing fiercely for fuel and investment, the country gains something rare: time. Time to plan, time to invest, and time to transition on its own terms. MAE-1 may not solve every challenge, but it clearly changes the direction, replacing decline with balance and dependence with choice. The discovery at Malampaya East 1 marks a defining moment in the Philippines' energy story, unlocking new domestic resources that can reinforce energy security, underpin economic expansion, and support a more realistic transition toward cleaner power generation. While technical, market, and environmental challenges remain, the find highlights the value of coherent policy direction, close coordination between government and industry, and disciplined, responsible resource development. As the country looks ahead, the true measure of this discovery will lie in how effectively it is managed. ensuring that energy development proceeds with environmental care and delivers broad, equitable benefits to Filipino households, communities, and the national economy. If you found this analysis valuable, share your perspective in the comments. Your insights help deepen the conversation and sharpen our understanding of evolving regional dynamics. Thank you, and we will see you soon in our next geopolitical discussion.